Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mobile Device Manager Plus training program. I'm glad that you could take time off your schedule to attend our webinar. Let me introduce myself. I am Alice Selvin, a product specialist in the Manage Engine company, and I'm going to be your trainer for the rest of the session. This is part of a 3-week training program, which is designed to help you understand the features and benefits of Mobile Device Manager Plus. We are currently on week 2 of the training program, where we will be discussing app management in detail. And also I will show you how you can ensure security on all of your corporate devices. In last week's training program, we took a look at the different enrollment methods that you could use to onboard your devices into MDM, and also how you could provision your devices to make sure that they are ready to access corporate information and corporate resources. In next week's training session, we will cover modern management of Windows 10, 11, and Mac devices. In case you have missed any of the sessions, you can access the video in the link that we have mentioned here. So let's have a look at our training agenda for today. We will start off with an overview of Mobile Device Manager Plus. It will be a general introduction about the product and the prerequisites involved. In the next section, we will look at application management, where I will talk about how you can install, uninstall, and update store and in-house apps, either manually or without any user intervention needed. We will also take a look at how you can test and deploy your in-house developed apps. We will then move on to see how you can secure the data on your devices by blocking certain apps and web content, locking down devices to run only on a specific set of apps. We call this kiosk mode. We'll explain how you can remotely troubleshoot your devices in case of any device issues. We'll see how you can schedule, restrict, and even automate your OS updates based on a certain schedule, and how to achieve location-based compliance using geofencing. Since every IT admin would be skeptical about devices getting lost or data getting stolen, we will show you how you can secure and retrieve your lost devices. We will conclude the session with a few scenarios and solutions. Now let's get into the overview of Mobile Device Manager Plus. Mobile Device Manager Plus supports managing smartphones and tablets running on Apple, Android, and Windows. We also support managing macOS, tvOS devices, Android TVs, Windows 10 and 11 laptops, Surface Hubs, and desktops. We are also one of the few MDM solutions in today's market that allow you to enroll and manage Chromebooks as well. Mobile Device Manager Plus is available as an add-on to Desktop Central, our unified endpoint management solution. This product is available on premises as well as on cloud. If you are looking into managing just your mobile devices, you can go for the standalone version of our product, available both on premises and on cloud. Suppose you are an MSP, I would suggest that you try out the MSP version of Mobile Device Manager Plus. It is available on premises and on cloud. It has all of the features and benefits of MDM, along with a few MSP-specific features, like your customer segregation using multi-tenant architecture. Now, we understand that your organization would require to closely integrate MDM to function along with other apps. So we have integrated with a few help desk management solutions, such as Spiceworks, Jira Service Desk, Zendesk Support, ServiceNow, and our in-house help desk management software, Service Desk Plus. In addition to this, we also integrate with Zoho CRM, our customer relationship management app, and Zoho Creator. You can create custom applications using Zoho Creator and then deploy them to your devices using Mobile Device Manager Plus. In case you have any other applications apart from the ones I mentioned, you can view a list of publicly available APIs provided in the link given below. So now let's take a look at Mobile Device Manager Plus's workflow. This is the architecture, and it consists of 3 main components: the MDM server, the notification services, and your managed devices. Any command that has to be taken on the devices will have to go through the notification services. Now your MDM server will first contact the notification services. That is your Apple push notification service for Apple devices, Firebase cloud messaging for Android devices, and your Windows notification services for Windows. These notification services will then wake up the devices, and the devices will in turn contact the MDM server. So let me give you an example. Let's say I am trying to execute a restriction on the device. I'm applying the restriction from the MDM server. The notification service will contact the device, and once the command gets applied on the device will report back to the MDM server to let the server know that the command has been successful. So this is how all the actions work. Now we understand that your devices cannot always remain within the same network, which is why you will have to NAT your internal IP address with a public IP address. And we know that this might raise a few security concerns in your organization. So we allow you to configure a secure gateway component, which is optional, so that all of the communication that takes place between your managed devices and your MDM server will be routed through this secure gateway component. In case you are using the cloud version of our product, you do not need to configure any of these settings. We also allow you to integrate with a few directory services like Azure, Okta, and G Suite. All of the communication that I just spoke about is facilitated using ports. For the device to be able to communicate with the MDM server, the port 9383 needs to be kept open. Similarly, here are a few other ports that we use for communication. To view a full list of all the ports that we use at Mobile Device Manager Plus, you can access the link given below. So this is a very common question that we get. How does MDM manage devices? In the case of Apple, Windows, and Chrome devices, we manage these devices using the native client present on them. So essentially, it is a client-server model. As for your Android devices, you will have to install the MeMDM app on the device to be able to manage it. So now that we've gone through the overview, let me take you through our console to help you navigate through the session better. We are now on the Mobile Device Manager Plus console, and I'm now on the Home tab. On the Home tab, you can see the number of devices that you have onboarded into MDM, devices that are yet to be enrolled, the number of users you've enrolled, applications that have been restricted, and similar details. Here you have a representation of the types of devices you are managing, be it a smartphone, a tablet, or a laptop, and the platforms that these devices are running on. Here you can see a summary of apps based on whether they have been allowed or blocked on devices. The last contact summary will show you devices based on when they have recently contacted the MDM server. All of the activity that takes place on the MDM console is recorded under the audit log feed here. This is the device management module, and we are now on the Groups and Devices tab. This is the module that we will be dealing with extensively today. On the Groups and Devices tab, you can see devices that have been assigned to groups, individual devices on this column. You can create multiple groups based on convenience to help you segregate between different teams, departments, and so on. Profiles are policies or restrictions that you can apply to devices. The app repository is where we will be adding and distributing all of our apps to devices. You can manage app updates, OS updates, distribute certificates to devices for better security, and efficiently manage content, files, and corporate resources on your devices. In case there are any device-based issues, you can use our remote troubleshooting tool here to access your device remotely. If you have any important information that you need to convey to your users, you can use our announcements tool here. We also allow you to secure access to your Exchange server and Office 365 applications. You can even execute location-based commands on devices by creating a geofence policy for them. On the Inventory tab, you can get granular details about all the devices being managed. the applications available on your devices, locations of the devices, and you can even scan your devices regularly to ensure that they always stay in contact with the MDM server. This feature here will allow you to monitor and track the battery levels of your managed devices. On the Enrollment tab, you can see a list of all of the devices that I have enrolled into MDM. On the left side, you can see the different methods that you can onboard devices by for your Apple, Android, Windows, and Chrome devices. If you click on the Reports tab, you'll see that we have a variety of predefined reports that you can configure based on the criteria that you want to fetch. You can also schedule reports to be mailed to you. And you can also create your own custom query reports. On the Admin tab, this is where you set up your product by configuring different settings like your global settings, privacy, security, and database settings. If you click on the Support tab, you'll see that we have a variety of resources and references that can help you gain a better understanding of our product. We have a lot of how-tos, resources, help documentation, blogs, and forum posts. If at all you face any issue while using our product, you can always contact a live technician or call the toll-free number to resolve your issue. Now that I've given you a walkthrough, let's get back to seeing how you can manage applications on devices. So let me start off by giving you a scenario. Let's consider myself to be the IT admin of an organization that we will call Zilker. At Zilker, we use mobile devices to get our day-to-day tasks at work done. So as an IT admin, it is my duty to see that all of the devices in my organization have the required set of business applications installed and functioning on them well. So how am I going to be managing all of these corporate applications? I'm going to do this by Mobile Device Manager Plus's app management. So this is how app management works in MDM. The first step is to create an app repository on the MDM server. You can do this by adding your store apps and enterprise apps. Once you've added your different apps, you can go ahead and distribute these to your different groups and devices. After which, the installation process for the apps will be initiated from the respective stores. That is your App Store, Windows Business Store, and Play Store. As for your in-house developed apps, the installation process will be initiated from the MDM server itself. This is because we will be directly uploading our enterprise app files there. So now that you've understood the workflow of app management in MDM, let's go to the console and begin adding our apps. On the console, click on App Repository. So these are a list of the applications that I have already added into MDM, and now I'm going to show you how you can add a new one. To add a new app, click on the Add App option, and under the drop-down, choose the kind of app that you want to add. These are all the different kinds of apps that we support. As for now, I am choosing to add an Apple Store app. So you can enter in the name of the app that you want to add. I've chosen to look for the Zoho CRM application. Click on the app, and now you can see a list of app details here. So now what has occurred is the MDM server has contacted the Apple Store to fetch the required app details here, which is why, as you can see, the bundle identifier, the app's version, Apple Store ID, and the category of the app have been automatically filled in. Because these are filled in, click on Next. These are two app policies that we recommend that you always keep enabled on devices. The first app policy is to remove the app as soon as the MDM profile gets removed. So let's say a user has revoked management from the device. In that case, the application will be automatically removed from the device as well. The second app policy is to prevent the backup of app data on iTunes and cloud services. Enabling these app policies will ensure that no important corporate app data is retained on your devices. Now that these are enabled, click on Next. We also allow you to manage certain functionalities on the app itself by making use of app configurations. All you have to do is upload an app configuration data file here. Once that is done, click on Save to add the app to your repository. Once the app is available in your repository, you can go ahead and distribute it to your groups and devices. I'm navigating to the Devices tab and filtering out all of my Apple devices using the filters provided here. Choose the device that you're going to distribute the app to and click on Action. Click on Distribute Apps. You can either manually enter the name of the app that we just added or make use of the filters readily available on your left side. Let's say I have added the Zoho Creator app. Sorry, I'm adding the Zoho Main app here. There are two types of installation available. The first one is to distribute the app to your app catalog, and the second is to silently install the app. I'm going ahead with the first option, and I will talk about silent app installation in a few minutes. You can also choose to enable this option, which will notify your users through an email as soon as you've distributed the app to a device. Click on Select to distribute the app. So now let's go and take a look at how this will look on the device's screen. On the first image, as you can see, your user has to open the MEMDM app. On the MEMDM app, they will have to click on App Catalog, which is where all of the apps that you distribute from MDM will be available. The user has to click on the Install button, and once they do, they will be prompted to sign in to their iTunes account. Once the user provides their credentials and clicks on OK, the installation process will begin. After the app is installed, your employees can go ahead and make use of this on their device, and it will be a managed app. So the method of installation that I just explained is called manual installation of apps. Here are a few prerequisites that need to be met for this method, or should I say conditions that need to be met for this method. The first condition is that every device should be provisioned with a valid iTunes account, and also the fact that a bit of user intervention is needed to finish installing an app. So now let's say these two are not possible for your organization. Let's say you are unable to provision each device with a different iTunes account, and also you do not want your users to intervene while you are installing an app. So to solve this, Mobile Device Manager Plus allows you to silently install apps on devices without any user intervention. You can automate this process by integrating MDM with Apple Business Manager for your iOS devices and manage Google Play for your Android devices. Both of these programs will help you facilitate automatic and silent app installation. I'm sure you're wondering how this works. Before that, let's get to the prerequisites. The first condition is to create an account with Apple Business Manager or with Google. The devices have to be supervised. Supervising your Apple devices will give you complete control over them, and we would have talked about this in the previous week's sessions. In case you had missed that session, you can drop your contact details in the Q&A chat box, and our experts will schedule a personalized demo for you at your request so that you can go through all of the enrollment methods and pick one that is suitable for your organization. The last prerequisite is that your devices should be running on Android 5.0 or a version above it. Let's get to the workflow of silent app installation. So the first step is to integrate the portals. That is your Apple Business Manager portal or your Manage Google Play portal along with the MDM server. After this integration is done, you will have to approve or purchase apps on the respective portals. Once you've done this, the apps will be automatically added to your app repository because of the integration that would have taken place earlier. Now that you have your apps on the app repository, you can go ahead and distribute them to your different groups and devices, after which they will get automatically installed on the devices with no action or prompt from your user. So let's go to the console and take a look at how you can integrate Apple Business Manager with iOS devices first. To do this, click on the App Repository option and select Apple App Management. So this is how your console will look before you have integrated it. So Apple Business Manager is a program that is provided for free by Apple to help organizations with app distribution, installation, and how to manage licenses efficiently. So you will have two options to initiate the integration process. The first is to configure apps for business. The second is to configure apps for school. So if you are a school, a college, or any other educational institution, you can click on your second option. As for now, I am choosing to go with configure apps for business. Once you click on this, the first step is to log into the Apple Business Manager portal. The reason we're doing this is so that we can download a location token, which we will have to upload to our console here. So once you log into your Apple Business Manager portal, you can go and find your server tokens under devices. You will have to create a different server token. And once you download that, you can upload it on your console here. You can also provide an email ID here to be notified whenever your server token is going to expire. These server tokens are valid for 1 year. Once you click on Upload Token, this is how it will look on your server. As you can see, the details about your location token are displayed, along with when you have last synced it, the email address that you have provided, and the date of your token's expiry. So now you can go back to the ABM portal and start adding your applications. Click on Apps and Books and enter in the name of the app that you're looking for. I have chosen to look for the Zoho CRM application. Click on the app, and you need to provide a number of licenses for the number of devices that you are planning to distribute this app to. So let's say you have 50 devices and you want to distribute Zoho CRM to 50 devices. In that case, you will have to enter 50 licenses here and click on Get. These licenses are server token specific and can be transferred from one server token to another. You will also have to verify whether the app is device assignable for you to be able to silently install it on your iOS devices. Once you click on Get, the app will be added to your app repository. I'll explain how MDM carries out this app adding process. So once a day, the MDM server will contact the ABM portal to fetch the required applications that you have just added on the ABM portal. However, if you want to immediately add your ABM apps here, you can click on the Sync Apps option to add it. So now that we've added our app, let's go ahead with the distribution process. Click on Groups and Devices, select Devices. I'm filtering out all of my Android devices. Choose a device that you're going to distribute the app to and click on Action. Click on Distribute Apps here. Let's say I'm distributing the Gmail app. This time, instead of choosing Distributed to App Catalog, choose Silent Installation because that is the method we are going by. Click on Select to automatically distribute the app. So this is how it will look on your device. As you can see, the app installation process has been kickstarted without any prompt or any requirement for an Apple ID from MDM. Now the app is installed without any prompt. So this is how silent app installation works. It is a seamless process which we support. A recommendation from our end would be to always make sure that your device is connected to a Wi-Fi network whenever you're distributing an app that is larger than 200 MB in size. This is because Apple restricts the download of large apps if they are over 200 MB and you are using a mobile data network. We just took a look at how you can silently install apps on your iOS devices. Let's take a look at how to do the same for your Android devices. For Android devices, you will have to integrate Manage Google Play along with MDM. To do this, click on App Repository, select Manage Google Play, which is right next to the Apple App Management tab. So you can have two options here, either to register yourself using a G Suite account if you have one, Or you can choose to register without a G Suite account. If you choose the second account, you will have to enter a Google account that has been used by your organization only. Please note that the features that we provide once you configure Manage Google Play will remain the same whether or not you use a G Suite account. As for now, I'm choosing to click on Register without G Suite. Click on Configure Now, and you will be redirected to the Google Admin Console. On the console, click on Get Started. Enter in the name of your organization. Your EMM provider's name will be automatically filled in as Manage Engine EMM. Click on Next. Now, because of the implementation of GDPR, you will be required to enter a few contact details. So provide the details about your data protection officer, your EU representative, agree to the terms and conditions, and click on Confirm. Click on Complete Registration. And this is how your server will look after the integration process. As you can see, they have shown us which kind of account you have chosen to configure Manage Google Play along with your enterprise ID. So now you can go ahead and start adding your applications. Click on Add Apps. Now enter in the name of the app that you're looking for. I'm looking for the Zoho Creator application. So now you will be asked to approve the application. Now when you click on Approve, it will show you a list of all of the functions that this app will have access to. Once you've gone through these permissions, click on Approve, and now you will be asked how you would like to handle any new app permission requests. So let's say every time there is a permission to access a different functionality, you can choose to either keep the app approved when a new permission is asked for, or revoke app approval whenever a new permission is requested. To be notified about when these new permissions occur, you can provide an email ID here. Once you've updated your preferences, click on Done and click on Save and Sync the app to add it to your repository. Once your app is added, you can go ahead and distribute it to either your groups or your devices. Before we distribute it, let me talk to you about app permissions. Let's look for the app that we just added. Click on the app. Now you will have a tab here that says Permissions. Once you click on it, here you can choose whether or not to allow the user access to these permissions. You can choose to either give them allow or restrict a few, or even give the user control over a few functionalities. Once you're done with this, click on Save to update your app permissions. You can even distribute the app from this view itself by clicking on the Distribute button. Click on Devices. Choose the device and ensure that your distribution type is selected as Install Updates Automatically. Once you've distributed this app, this is how it will look on the device. As you can see, a work account has been added. This work account will be added because of the integration between Manage Google Play and MDM. After the creation of this work account, the installation process for your app will begin. And after the app is installed, it will be denoted with an orange briefcase symbol, as you can see. This is to signify that it is a corporate application. This will also help you segregate between your personal and corporate workspace. About the app permissions that we just took a look at, as you can see, I have restricted the user from having access to these two functions and given the user control to modify a few. So this is how you can silently install and manage permissions on Android devices. App updates are a frequent part of any app management process because every app will receive frequent app updates from developers. Along with an app update usually comes a set of enhancements, fixes, and sometimes new features. We always recommend that you update your application to the latest version because the latest version could be the fix for any existing security problems or any issues that may have been affecting productivity in your work environment. These are the conditions that need to be met for you to manage your app updates. Your apps have to be purchased through Apple Business Manager and should be device assignable. Let's take a look at how to manage app updates. So we have an option here beneath the app repository that says Automate App Updates. If you enable this option and click on Save, once a day, the MDM server will carry out a check on the App Store, Play Store, and Windows Business Store to look for any available app updates. These available app updates will be automatically pushed to your devices. However, let's say you do not want to update all of the applications at once, and you want to be sure of what enhancements or features are available with every app update. In that case, you need not enable this. Click on App Repository, and a message here will be displayed showing you how many app updates are available for distribution. Click on this number. This will show you a list of all the applications that have app updates available. So let's say I want to update the Gmail application on my device. Click on the app's name. This will show you the number of devices that the app has been installed on. You can then choose to update the application on a single device. Choose a device and click on Update App. So now you can go to this particular device. We always recommend that you do it on a test device so that you can go and verify how the update is functioning. So once you verify how the update functions, you can come back to the MDM server and click on the Update All option. This will update the application on all the devices that you have distributed it to. Next, we're going to take a look at how to manage in-house developed apps. A lot of organizations rely on using in-house apps, and these are a few questions that you might have had. The first one, is an account with Apple Business Manager or Manage Google Play mandatory? No, you do not require any separate account with Apple or with Google in order for you to manage your enterprise apps. The next two questions, can we test the apps before deployment, and can I add multiple versions of an app? Yes, we do allow you to test out apps before deploying them to make sure that they're ready to be deployed to your entire work environment. And we also allow you to add multiple versions of an app. These are the prerequisites. For iOS devices, your devices should be supervised. For Android, your devices should be either be Samsung devices or should have been provisioned as device owner. The device owner setting is similar to that of a supervised device, and it gives you complete control over your Android devices. So now let's go to the console and take a look at how to add and manage enterprise apps. On the app repository, click on Add App. I'm choosing to add an Android enterprise app. Click on Self-Hosted App and upload the APK file that you have available. The MDM server will fetch the required details from the APK file that you upload and display the details here. So your app version and the code have been automatically filled in. You can go ahead and choose a category of the app and the devices that you want it to be supported for. For easier identification, if you are going to be managing multiple versions, you can provide a version label as well. Click on Next. And similar to what I mentioned earlier, you can manage app configurations for your enterprise app files as well. These configurations need to be provided from your app's developer itself. Once you get those files, you may add them here. Click on Save to add the app to your app repository. So now this app has been added to your repository. You can go ahead and start distributing it to your corporate devices. As I mentioned earlier, we will always recommend that you distribute your app to a test device preferably so that you can ensure how it functions before you choose to bulkily deploy it. Click on Distribute App. Now you can go to the specific device and ensure how it functions. Let's say you have another version. This is the first version I have uploaded. You have another version of the same app that you would like to add. That also can be done. Click on Add App for this. Select again Android Enterprise app and click on Self-Hosted app. Now upload the next file that you have available. The MDM server will now detect that it is a higher version of an app that is already available in your repository. Please note that these different versions can coexist in our app repository together. So you can choose either to update the existing version to the new version that you have applied now, or you can choose to add it as a separate version. This is what I'm going to be choosing. I'm choosing to add it as a separate version. Click on Proceed and select Add as New Version. Now that you have two versions of this app, you can go ahead and test out your next version. Let's look for the app that we added. Click on the app. As you can see, these different versions have been listed here. You can choose to distribute this version to your devices. So now let's say after distributing the second version of the app, you have found out that there are a few bugs that need to be corrected. You have corrected this in yet another file for the app. So to replace this file or to add a new version of it, you can click on Action and click on Update. Click on Upload File and upload the latest version that you have available. This time I'm choosing to update the previous version, as you can see. Now you successfully have 3 versions here. You can go ahead and distribute this to either a few devices, verify how it functions, return back to the MDM console, and to update it on all of your devices, you can click on the Update All option here. You can choose either to distribute the update to the app catalog from where your users will have to update it, or to automatically install your updates. So this is how we allow you to manage enterprise apps. We'll take a look at a few questions now. How can you prevent users from installing malicious apps on devices? So every organization would not want their users to have access to certain malicious or apps that hinder productivity. So to prevent users from doing this, you can create a profile for it. Click on the Profiles tab here, select Create a Profile. I'm choosing to create an Android profile this time. Provide a name for your profile and click on Continue. Click on Restrictions. Select Applications. Here the first restriction says user can install unapproved apps. You can go ahead and click on Restrict. So what this option does is, it will prevent your users from installing applications apart from the ones that you have distributed through MDM. Once you've made your change, click on Save and publish the profile. After your profile is published, you will have to associate it with the required groups and devices that you want. Choose the group that you are going to distribute the profile to and click on Associate Profile. Click on the profile that we just created and click on Select. So this will now be applied to your groups and they will not be able to install unapproved apps. But let's say before you have executed this profile itself, there are certain apps that are already available on the devices, and you do not want your users to have access to those apps. The solution for this is to navigate to Inventory, click on Apps. So this is where you can block different applications. Let me take you to the settings now. Click on the Settings tab. So these are the different options that we allow for block listing. You can choose to uninstall the application immediately, or notify your users and then uninstall the app, or notify your users for a certain number of days, after which the app will get uninstalled. So once you configure your settings, click on Apps. This will show you a list of all the available apps on your managed devices. These can be store apps, enterprise apps, even system applications. So let's say you want to block list these two applications. Click on Block List App. You can choose to block this app either on all devices or from specific groups and devices alone. I'm choosing to do it from certain groups alone. Once you click on Block List, these apps will be remotely uninstalled from the devices. Your users will no longer be able to use this app or install it again. The next question, how can you prevent users from accessing malicious websites on devices? Now we just took a look at how you can prevent users from installing certain apps or how you can block these apps. But if the same apps are available as web services, you would still not want your users to have access to such websites. To resolve this, you can create a profile for it. Click on Create Profile. This time, let us create an iOS or an iPad OS profile. Provide a name for your profile and click on Continue. Click on the Web Content Filter tab. Here you can choose how you would like to filter out URLs. You can choose either to allow only a specific set of URLs, or you can choose to block list certain URLs. So let's say I do not want my users to have access to YouTube. I will enter that URL here or any other set of URLs that you do not want them to have access to. Enabling this option will automatically restrict any inappropriate content on your devices. You can also provide a few URLs to be bypassed even after entering this option. Click on Save and then publish your profile. As soon as you associate this profile with your groups and devices, your users will no longer have access to the URL that we just mentioned in the profile. The next question, how can you allow only specific apps on devices? So this question is to deal with kiosk mode. Certain organizations, you would want to use devices as point of sale devices or as digital signage. And for these type of unattended devices, you will want access only for a few applications. You would not want all of the available apps, settings, and services on the devices. So to lock down the ones that are not enterprise approved, you can configure something called as a kiosk mode. We allow you to configure this kiosk mode using a profile. Click on Create Profile. I'm creating an Android kiosk profile. Click on Continue and navigate to the Kiosk tab. So you can either choose to lock down your devices into single app mode or multi-app mode. Single app mode will lock it down to a single app, and multi-app will have different applications along with which you can add web shortcuts as well. So you can provide your web shortcuts name, a URL that needs to be linked it, and customize it according to how you want it. You can also choose how you would like to open this web shortcut that you plan to create, either in a browser or a browser with restricted access. Once you've created your web shortcut, you can choose a few more settings here. You can also choose whether or not you would like to display your MEMDM app on the device. However, we always recommend that you keep this enabled as yes, because in case your device goes out of contact with the server, you can use the MEMDM app to initiate a sync that will get it back in contact with the server. The Device Restrictions tab will allow you to restrict certain functionalities from the app that you do not want users to have access to. You can choose to restrict your status bar, power button, home button, and similar ones. Or if you do not want your users to tamper with your volume controls, you can set up a certain level of volume, which they will not be able to modify. You can also choose to restrict certain sensitive notifications as well. The Custom Settings app, you can enable it to give your users access to just basic functionalities alone. So you can allow them to configure Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, flashlight, and similar basic functions alone. If you click on the Edit Screen Layout option, you can configure how exactly you want your home screen to be visible. You can either choose to enable or disable a dock here. You can pin up different applications here to your home screen, which users cannot modify. You can also choose whether you would like your users to change the position of the apps or not. Once you've configured your kiosk profile, you can associate it with different groups and devices, and they will get locked. This is how it will look. On your first image, you can see a single app kiosk mode, wherein the Google Maps app is the only app that has been allowed. The user cannot exit this, nor can they navigate to any other apps or settings. On your right image, you can see a multi-app kiosk mode, where I have pinned up certain apps to my dock. And apart from these applications and web shortcuts, your user cannot access anything else. The next question, how can you troubleshoot devices of remote users? So a lot of the times, if there are any issues with your corporate device, a device that you have provided from your organization, but there's any technical issue that you want to resolve, or if your field agents are not technically adept, in that case, you can initiate a remote troubleshooting session. It's under the device management tab. Click on remote control. Let's say I have received a complaint that Jason's device has a technical problem. Click on the remote control button and click on start. So this remote troubleshooting session is possible because of the integration between Zoho Assist and MDM. Zoho Assist is bundled free of cost along with MDM. So this will facilitate our support session. So once the user accepts your prompt, you will be able to view the device screen like this. As you can see, this device has been provisioned into a kiosk mode. So for me to be able to troubleshoot this device, I will have to bring it out of kiosk mode. For this, I'm going to be using the exit kiosk command. Once this command gets applied to the device, you'll have access to all of its settings, applications, and you can go ahead and make the necessary changes that you want. Once you have resolved any issue and you want to put the device back into kiosk mode, you can use the enter kiosk command. Now this device will get provisioned back into kiosk mode. Similar to these two commands, we also have a set of other commands which we call remote chat commands. These will help you with a seamless remote control process. Once you're done with your session, you can click on exit and select end now. How can you restrict devices from leaving a certain area? So certain enterprises have extremely strict security policies, and you may not want your devices to leave a certain geographical boundary itself. So to achieve location-based compliance, you can navigate to the geofencing feature and click on Fence Repository. Over here, click on Create Fence to your right-hand side. Provide a name for your fence and pin up a boundary on your map. You can configure a fence radius as large as 500 kilometers. Once you've pinned up your boundary, you can click on Create. This will create a fence and add it to your fence repository. Once your fence has been added, click on Fence Policy and select Create a Policy. Now you can choose the boundary that you just created and define certain actions that will be executed on non-compliant devices. A device will be marked as a non-compliant device as soon as it leaves the boundary that you just configured. You can choose to immediately take action on the device or after a day. You can choose to notify the user and then take the action, or immediately take the action straight away. These are the actions that you can take on devices. You can either choose to put the device in a lost mode, which I will be briefing you about in a few more minutes, or you can choose to completely wipe the device of all its data available. Once you click on Create a Policy, you can go ahead and associate the policy with different groups and devices, so that as soon as a device leaves the boundary, the actions that you configured will be automatically triggered on it. In this section, we will be covering how you can manage your OS updates. If you are running on older OS version, you might be missing out on some important security updates. Your older OS versions will cause to get slower with time. So we recommend that you update to the latest OS. However, if you choose to simultaneously update the OS on your devices, this will lead to a loss of productivity. Your in-house apps may not be compatible, which can lead to other issues. And if you are updating the OS on computers in bulk, this will lead to bandwidth choking, which no IT admin would want. So the solution is to schedule and automate OS updates based on a convenient time for your organization. This is a one-time process, and you do not need to keep reconfiguring a policy. We have different options that will help you immediately deploy or delay the deployment for a certain number of days. You can provide users a notification of when your updates are going to be happening, and even give them the option of skipping updates for a certain number of days. Let's take a look at how to do this. Click on Automate OS Updates and click on Create a Policy. I'm creating an Android policy. So as I mentioned, you can choose whether to immediately deploy the OS on devices or delay it for a certain number of days. You can even choose your preferred week, day, and even the time. Enabling this box will notify your users about the happening OS update, and you can even enable this to allow them to skip the OS deployment for a certain number of days. After this number of days is over, the OS will be force deployed. You can then go and associate this OS update policy with your different platforms, devices, and groups. So as I mentioned earlier, since your mobile devices are compact and tend to get easily misplaced, you need to secure devices if at all an unfortunate event like this happens. Click on the Inventory tab. So this is a list of all of the devices that are in your organization. Let's say I have got a complaint that this employee's device is lost. So click on the Actions tab. So you will have an option here that says Enable Lost Mode. Click on this option. You can provide your organization's contact number and a customized message that will be displayed on the screen. You can also choose to enforce a new passcode for the device to prevent any unauthorized access. So this is how the device will look once it gets into lost mode. As you can see, the number is displayed here along with the message that I have set. So in case somebody finds this device, they can use these details to get it back to my organization. However, let's say it's been a few days and this device has not been returned into my organization. So now I'm concerned about the data that is present on this device, and I want to remotely erase it or protect it. So you can click on the Actions button again, and you will have two options here, either to completely wipe the device of all its data, that is a factory reset for the device, or you can choose to remove only the corporate data, any applications, certificates, or any content that you have distributed from MDM can be removed as well. So this is how you can secure devices even in an event like this. Let's talk about a few scenarios and solutions to conclude the session. Scenario 1, how can we prevent users from uninstalling corporate apps from devices? So earlier we took a look at how you can prevent users from installing certain apps, but there are also a list of important apps that every organization would want their users to have. So to prevent users from uninstalling important applications, click on Device Management, select Profiles, and let's create a profile for it. Click on the Restrictions tab. Under Applications, the next option says Uninstalling Apps. If you restrict this, your users will not be able to uninstall apps. Scenario 2, a user has reset the device and left the organization. On reactivating the device, we are prompted to enter the user's credentials. Can MDM help us? So this problem has occurred because of factory reset protection. Factory reset protection is a security feature that is enabled by default on all Android devices. This is mainly to ensure that no unauthorized access is gained as soon as a device is factory reset. However, in this scenario, it has left a user locked out of their organization's device. So to prevent this from happening, you can enter in your email ID here. That is your corporate email ID, obtain an account ID and enter it here. After you associate this EFRP profile to your groups and devices, even if a device is factory reset, this prompt will be displayed. Only if your user enters these credentials, you can gain access to the device. Scenario 3. How can we prevent users from turning off locations on their devices? So in logistics companies especially, you would not want your users to switch off their location services. So to prevent them from doing this, click on Restrictions, select Location Settings. Here you will have 3 options in the drop down, either to keep the location services as always off, always on, or give the user control to modify it. I'm choosing to click on Always On. As soon as you publish this profile, your users cannot turn off their location services. Final scenario, we need certain apps to be used only for a specific amount of time. Can MDM help us? So in a situation where you want your users to have access to an app only for a specific duration, you can use autonomous apps. Click on Profiles and create an iOS profile. You can configure these autonomous apps by navigating to Kiosk. So next to the single app and multi-app mode, you will have an option here to enable autonomous apps. You can provide the app name or the bundle identifier of the app that you want to be used for a certain number of minutes or hours. Please note that these changes, as in the number of minutes or hours that you want this app to be used, can be configured only on the application itself. We have come to the end of our session, so you can rate us on a scale of 1 to 5 in the survey that we will drop to you as soon as the session closes. If you like the training, you can spread a word about us on social media by using the hashtag Mobile Device Manager Plus or Manage Engine. Tune in for our next training program, where we will talk about modern management of Windows 10, 11, and Mac devices. This will be on the 24th of May next week at the same time. Thank you and have a good day.